Time with Deuces Rogers, meteorologist Cecily Tynan, and Jim Gardner.
It is Monday night, and the big story on Action News tonight, breaking news from the Philadelphia Eagles. Quarterback Jalen Hurts has injured his right shoulder and could miss a couple of games. Jamie Apodi is obviously on these developments. Jamie, what do we know?
Well, we know that Hurts had an MRI this morning, Jim, where the shoulder sprain was diagnosed. We also know that his status for Saturday's Christmas Eve date in Dallas is now very much in question, but this doesn't appear to be a serious injury. Hurts was hurt on this play in the third quarter of the Eagles' 25-20 win in Chicago when Bears defensive end Trevis Gipson slammed him into the turf right there. He stayed in the game, though, after that, and you'll recall had plenty of really nice throws, including his best throw of the game, that 68-yard completion to A.J. Brown. It's no secret there's some concern as to all the hits Hurts takes, given how much he runs. Nick Sirianni even addressed that after yesterday's game.
It's one of the big things.
You know, I know he took a couple big hits, but you know, they were pretty clean shots. He got up and he was good to go, and hey, let's go again.
I don't want to see my quarterback getting hit like that. You know, he shouldn't have to pop back up like that, you know. But he's a tough guy. He just shows, like, the type of player he is.
Now, if I had to make a prediction based on what I'm hearing, I bet Gardner Minshew starts the game on Saturday. It wouldn't be the worst thing. The Eagles only need one win in their next three to wrap up the #1 seed and the first-round bye. Plus, Gardner Minshew can beat the Cowboys, Jim.
Well, we shall see, right?
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
We wish Jalen the best recovery and quick. Now to a big drama over the skies over the Delaware Valley this morning, and chances are you heard it. High in the sky at about 9:30 this morning, a military jet out of McGuire was responding to a small private plane which had invaded restricted airspace. The temporary flight restriction was in place because President Biden was still in Wilmington. As NORAD saw the small plane, it dispatched an escort to get the plane out of there. Action News reporter John Paul is live in Fairmount Park. John, so many of us heard it, and it actually did rattle a few nerves today.
Yeah, it sure did, Jim. It feels like the whole city of Philadelphia heard that fighter jet flying overhead, as you mentioned, around 9:30 this morning. It turns out NORAD had scrambled the fighter jet to intercept an aircraft that went into an airspace that had been closed off for the president.
I thought a plane was coming down. That's what it sounded like.
It was out of the ordinary, but it was just a loud noise, and then it was just unusual.
That unusual loud sound was this F-15 screeching over the skies of Philadelphia this morning on its way to intercept an airplane that flew into restricted airspace around President Biden. There was a temporary flight restriction, or TFR, around the president in Wilmington, and that Cessna was not authorized to be there and wouldn't respond on the radio. So NORAD scrambled the fighter jet.
It's our job at NORAD to ensure that we're securing the skies of North America, and so that's what this was a part of. Was ensuring that the airspace over Wilmington was safe.
In this case, the advanced fighter jet was able to escort the small Cessna aircraft out of the restricted area without incident in the sky. Just a few rattled windows and nerves on the ground.
We both was kind of nervous.
It was interesting to hear that.
So the question now is, what happens next? Well, there are a couple of scenarios here. The FAA can find that pilot, or the Secret Service could get involved with the punishment here. But as of right now, there's no official word on what punishment that pilot could face. In Fairmount Park, John Paul, Channel 6, Action News. Jim?
Thank you, John. The January 6th committee today claimed that former President Donald Trump violated 4 criminal statutes and recommended to the Justice Department that Trump should be charged. In its final public hearing, the committee declared that it has assembled what it is calling a roadmap to justice, and it issued 4 criminal referrals against Trump and his associates linked to both the run-up to January 6th and the insurrection itself. The 4 charges being recommended to the Justice Department Department are conspiracy to defraud the United States, obstruction of an official proceeding of Congress, conspiracy to make a false statement, and insurrection. Of course, it will ultimately be up to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to decide whether to charge the former president and others who tried to overturn the 2020 election. World News Tonight with David Muir will have complete coverage of the hearing today. That is next at 6:30, right after Action News. New developments tonight in the search for a woman who has not been seen in 8 years. Crime scene investigators were back at a home on the 5200 block of Burton Street. That's in the Wissinoming section of the city. They were able to and remove remains found under 4 feet of concrete in the basement. Their search started last week when officers acted on a tip. We have a crew following the latest developments, and we'll have the full story tonight on Action News at 11. There are new details tonight about the police-involved shooting outside the King of Prussia Mall yesterday. The suspect tells police that he panicked after a car crash in the parking lot and took off because he didn't have insurance. 27-year-old Andrew Wiley of Philadelphia is now charged with attempted murder of a law enforcement officer, aggravated assault, carrying a firearm without a license, and other charges. A chase ended with an exchange of gunfire with police. Wiley was shot twice, once in his thigh, once in his ankle. According to Wiley, the gunshot to his thigh was self-inflicted. He accidentally shot himself when he reached for his gun. The Philadelphia DA's office has announced a major gang bust in Southwest Philadelphia. District Attorney Larry Krasner says 5 people are in custody for their roles in 2 separate deadly shootings in 2021. Investigators say they have also been tied to a number of other violent crimes. The 3 suspects remain on the loose at this hour. They all face charges ranging from gun trafficking to murder. The 6ABC Safety Tracker can help you keep track of crime trends in your neighborhood. It gives you access to up-to-date data from the police to help you assess safety and risk in your community. So go to 6abc.com/safety tracker and take a look. Newly released video shows Haverford Township Police tracking down 3 suspected male thieves. The incident happened early Thursday morning. The suspects were at a collection box on Darby Road. When police pulled up, the thieves drove off, leading police on a chase through neighborhoods. Dashcam video shows the suspects just tossing mail from the car. The vehicle eventually crashed. 2 suspects fled on foot. They were later picked up by Lower Merion police. A 3rd man was arrested at the crash scene. Police say in these cases, thieves are usually hoping to find cash or checks. Well, tonight is the 2nd night of Hanukkah, one of the joyous holidays on the Jewish calendar. But Jews around the world are celebrating this year while anti-Semitic incidents continue to soar. Action News race and culture reporter Taronda Thomas has the story.
I'm wearing a dreidel and a Jewish star.
Items Marsha Bronstein wears with pride, especially during Hanukkah. But there are also items an increasing number of people are afraid to wear.
Many people are deciding not to wear their Jewish star because they're afraid of being attacked.
It's information Bronstein hears as regional director of the American Jewish Committee. It's also information the Anti-Defamation League tracks. They've seen incidents of hate steadily rise over the past 6 years.
2021, we saw the highest number of anti-Semitic incidents on record of harassment, vandalism, and assault. 2,717 incidents.
Then there's the propaganda. Our 6ABC data team found through early September this year, the ADL has so far tracked 719 incidents nationwide that involve spreading anti-Semitic propaganda. One incident was at the Chris Kendall Mart in Bethlehem on Sunday, just as Hanukkah began. Witnesses saw men spreading anti-Semitic propaganda, which also spiked last year.
Pennsylvania had the highest amount of white supremacist propaganda in the country.
It's why organizations are focusing even more on the fight against hate.
60 Jewish organizations that have band together during Hanukkah to create a program called Shine a Light.
Shine a light on anti-Semitism.
You've probably seen the PSAs encouraging everyone to speak up.
Saying something when it's safe to do so becomes vital.
urging them to shine a light, much like the lights celebrated during Hanukkah.
And that's why we have so many celebrations that are public to celebrate the light.
The Anti-Defamation League has resources on fighting all forms of hate. We have that on our website, 6abc.com/links. In Center City, Taronda Thomas, Channel 6 Action News.
And Governor Phil Murphy took part in Hanukkah celebrations in Trenton this afternoon. Murphy was hoisted on a lift to light the second flame for this second night of Hanukkah. The large menorah outside the State House is courtesy of the Rabbinical College of America. Murphy wished New Jerseyans a happy Hanukkah and highlighted that light over darkness is a poignant message this time of year. Jewish Family Services of Delaware received a boost today to improve mental health services in the first state. Senators Tom Carper and Chris Coons and Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester were in Wilmington to celebrate $3.5 million in federal funding. The money will create 16 fellowships for new paid licensed counselors. Jewish Family Services provides help to anyone, regardless of race, religion, orientation, or identity. Coming up on Action News tonight, Jamie Apodi with more on the Jalen Hurts situation, what the quarterback's injury means for the postseason, and we're Philly proud of a man named Will Claymire, whose incredible willpower kept him pedaling across the country. His effort was all to educate about a rare disease. Adam.
It is a cold start to the week, but it is quiet, and then all things change towards the end of the week. Yes, it is going to be a rainstorm, but that wind is going to be powerful, followed by a Christmas Arctic blast. We'll have all the details in AccuWeather, Jim.
Those stories and much more when Action News continues tonight. The Claymont Regional Transportation Center has a new name. Governor John Carney signed the bill today, renaming it after former state Senator Harris McDowell. McDowell, who was at the event today, served from 1976 to 2020. He is the longest-serving member of the Delaware General Assembly. Action News is Philly proud of a Bucks County cyclist whose lifelong dream has intersected with raising awareness for a genetic disorder that runs in his family. Action News community journalist Matteo Iadonisi shares the story.
18 years ago, I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease. It's a hidden disease. There's no cure for it, but when my kidney function really dropped dramatically, I then changed my lifestyle. I started biking again, and actually I wanted to bike across the country. That was a dream of mine my entire life. My family said, hey, let's make it a fundraiser and a tool, a vehicle to raise awareness for the disease because so few people actually know about it. I averaged 62 miles per day. It took me 56 biking days, but I had two major setbacks. Leaving Chicago on the south side, I crashed my bike. And during the time I biked from Chicago to Lancaster, I was diagnosed with COVID. And then from Lancaster, I took 3 days to bike to Ocean City, New Jersey. Many people have never heard of polycystic kidney disease, and it really gave me an opportunity to go from small town to small town and meet people along the way and let people know about it. I gave out hundreds of these on my journey so they could learn more about PKD. The more awareness, hopefully we can shorten the wait time for people that actually do need a transplant.
Action News, Philly Proud Of, is sponsored by NRG.
Obviously, you never want to see your quarterback get hurt. Should we be nervous about this? What's the story?
I don't think too nervous. I think he'll be fine for the playoffs. I don't think it's too serious. But of course, Jalen Hurts had an MRI this morning that revealed a sprained shoulder. His status for Sunday seems very much in doubt now, but remember this, the Eagles only need one win in their last 3 games to lock up the #1 seed in the NFC. Injury happened in the third quarter of the Eagles' 25-20 win over the Bears yesterday. Hurts was driven to the ground by defensive end Trevis Gibson. Now, he finished the game. He threw some of his best passes after being hurt, and he ended up throwing for 315 yards and running for 3 touchdowns. So now the Birds might be facing the boys without their MVP candidate. Yesterday in Chicago, the focus was already on Dallas.
we know it's a really good football team. I got a lot of respect for how well coached they are at all fronts, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, head coach, and I got a lot of respect for those players that they have over there. So we're going to have to have our best week of preparation to make sure we're ready to go 1-0 this week.
We respect every team that we play, and I know that this is a time where, you know, this team or everybody's trying to break it up or see how can they, you know, everybody waiting to see you fail, you know, and I think we just want to continue to stay together.
Nothing better than Cowboys week, right? Here's more on the big game with Deuces Rogers and Seth Joyner in this week's 2-minute drill.
Seth, yesterday's game was closer than it should have been. Should that serve as a reminder to the Birds to finish this season strong?
Well, I think they know they need to finish strong. They want to finish strong. You want to finish on a high note going into the playoffs. You're going to have these games every once in a while. It's almost a good thing for the Eagles because when they play a game like this, they always come back with their best game the next week.
Well, we'll see what happens on Saturday when they go down to Dallas, Christmas Eve against the Cowboys. The first time they played back in October, there was no Dak Prescott. The team was struggling back then, and the Cowboys were. How different of a football team are they now, the Cowboys?
I think they're struggling a little bit right now. I mean, if you go back, they struggled to beat the Texans. Then they came back and they played Jacksonville. They had to go to overtime. They lose in overtime. So their confidence has got to be a little shaken a little bit right now. So I think it's a good time for the Eagles to get them, even with Dak Prescott in the lineup.
The fans go crazy for Cowboys week. What does it mean for the players?
They know how the fans feel about the Cowboys, and if you're an Eagle, you know how you feel about the Dallas Cowboys. We don't like them, they don't like us, and we take nothing but pleasure in beating them every single time that we step on the field.
I love that he still says we. Thanks, Seth. Jamie, back over to you.
You can just feel the disdain. All right, tonight, tune in for Monday Night Football. The Rams and the Packers kick off at 8. You can see the game right here on 6ABC, also on ESPN and ESPN+. It's been a rough go for the Flyers, losers of 5 of their last 6. Now they've lost Cam Atkinson for the season. The team announced the forward will have neck surgery. He won't play at all this year. He had 23 goals and 50 points last season. Sixers are in the midst of 18 straight days at home. They'll host the Raptors tonight. Sixers have already won 4 straight on this long homestand, and the key to success has been simple.
We're just playing together. We're going out there, we're communicating more. We're understanding that when we play together, you know, we're tough to guard, we're tough to beat. So we're just going out there, just playing hard, just playing together.
A special surprise at the center earlier today as the Sixers provided 25 local kids with a once-in-a-lifetime experience. They took the floor, signed one-day contracts with the team, received custom jerseys, nameplates in the locker room, and were given Christmas gifts courtesy of Giant, something these youngsters will never, ever forget. And speaking of memorable, 17 years, Jim, it's been my honor to share the stage.
This is our last one, right?
This is it.
Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Adam Joseph with the AccuWeather forecast when we continue in just a moment. Week ahead from AccuWeather and Adam Joseph.
Smooth sailing now, buckle up later in the week. Yes, not good timing here for Thursday, Friday. Let's take a look today. It was all about that wind. There was some glimmers of blue, patches of blue upstairs, but a lot of clouds today, and that wind just drove right through you. Wind chills only in the 20s all day. Pretty shot here, live on Sky 6 City Hall. Camera taking a look at Deerworth Park. You got the Rothman Ice Skating Rink. You got the light show there on City Hall. Everyone in the festive mood. Yes, we got planes, we got trains, we got buses and cars. This is a busy travel week. Dry tomorrow as well as Wednesday. In and across much of the country, it is quiet on Wednesday. But Thursday, that's when the storm starts to ramp up in the Midwest. We're talking heavy snow, even blizzard-like conditions in Chicago, the Great Lakes Thursday. We see rain. Friday, rain. Powerful winds whip up, so there will be delays or cancellations Thursday and Friday in the eastern half of the country. And then Christmas Eve, that's when the cold floods in. And it's not just typical cold, it is Arctic cold. Today, not so Arctic, but it was pretty uncomfortable if you had to work outdoors. 40 on Sunday, today 38 for high, below the normal of 45, and wind chills only in the 20s. Speaking of that, that's where we are across the board. 24 in Trenton, the Atlantic City Airport, 22 in Wilmington. Feels like 14 degrees in the Poconos. A lot of clouds, but we did not have any of those lake effect snow showers. The winds were not strong enough. If winds are strong enough, sometimes you get these streamers that break away into the Lehigh Valley northwestern suburbs. Not the case today, just a lot of clouds moving in. But those clouds will move out as we get into the overnight hours. That cold breeze continues. Air temperatures will fall into the 20s for all, and wind chills in the morning will be in the teens for most. Tomorrow will brighten up that sky more than what we saw today. 42 at the shore, right around 40 for the heart of the Delaware Valley. North and west, we stop only in the upper 30s, well below average. All right, we track the storm as we go into the day on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, this is when all the pieces come together. We have an injection of moisture along the mid-Atlantic and the deep south. Rain here, maybe a little mix north and western parts of Pennsylvania. Snow, Chicago, St. Louis, the Great Lakes. And then the winds whip up. The rain continues on Friday. There's the sharp cold front. Rain to snow in the western part of Pennsylvania. So it begins Thursday afternoon for us. A soaking rain for all, even the Poconos over an inch. Winds 50+ miles an hour. And Friday evening, if there's any withstanding water or water left over, it will freeze up because temperatures here well into the 20s, 30s, below zero. That's not wind chill. That's the piece of Arctic air moving our way. The exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Quiet the next 2 days. Sunshine, some high clouds, low 40s. Breezy afternoon rain Thursday, 48. Rain ends on Friday around lunchtime, early afternoon, 58 in the morning, plummeting to the teens by Friday night and feeling like 10 to 15 degrees Saturday and Sunday, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, but at least it's dry. Highs in the 20s and Kwanzaa 32. Still rather cold, so a dramatic change coming at the end of the week, Jim.
So you're saying no white Christmas is what you're saying? No. Again. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir next on Channel 6. Action News continues next at 6:30 wherever you stream 6ABC and at 10 o'clock on PHL 17. Then join Rick Williams, Cecily Tyne, and Deuces Rogers for Action News at 11 here on Channel 6. For the entire Action News team, I'm Jim Gardner. Join us at 11.
Action News is sponsored by Jefferson Health. Don't delay your care.